January 13th, 2010. It was late in the day, just after school. Taz and Jaz returned home from school, only to find their mother lying dead in a blood-soaked bathtub at her residence in Conyers, Georgia. A swirl of questions. Who could have done such a horrendous act? A house of strife has turned into a house of horrors. Identical twin sisters have come home from school to find their mother brutally murdered. Cops say Nikki Whitehead was stabbed 80 times with a kitchen knife, her spinal cord nearly severed. To get a better understanding of the situation, one needs to learn a little about Nikki. Nikki Whitehead's tragic end marked the final chapter of a challenging life. Nikki, born 1975 in prison to a mother serving time for drug possession. Nikki was raised by her grandmother, who struggled to guide her down a stable path. Growing up with her grandmother, Nikki has unlimited freedom to herself without anyone to guide her as a teenager. She plays to her own rules. She liked to party, stay out late, and eventually, at the age of 17, she got pregnant. In November 1993, she gave birth to identical twins, naming them Tasmia and Jasmia, known as Taz and Jaz for short. After the twin were born, Nikki left the twin with her grandmother, that would be the twins' great-grandmother, as she continued her life with partying and drugs. The twin were raised by their great-grandmother who had earlier raised their mother. The twin were great at school, they studied, they got good grades. They were involved in sports and dancing with hope of one day going to Harvard. Nikki was almost always away. She was still an addict, and the twins continued to distance themselves from her. For 12 years, the trio lived with their grandmother, but Nikki dreamed of giving her daughter a better life. She definitely did not want them to go down the same path with her. So she decides to put her life back in other, and stay closer to her daughter. Nikki and the twins moved about 20 miles away to Conyers, Georgia. The young mom made sure her girls had the advantages that eluded her. But their path to success was dramatically diverted when the girls hit high school. It was difficult for them to start hearing and accepting the guidelines as Nikki became more strict. That's just something that they couldn't get used to, as they were free to do whatever they want when staying with their great-grandmother. Taz and Jaz bitterly resented their mother's discipline, and soon the rage would boil over when Nikki took away Taz's cell phone when she let it be known that you cannot be talking to a 17-year-old guy when you are just 13. Once sweet girls had suddenly morphed into twin terrors. Things got heated to the extent Nikki had to call 911 when she discovered that Jaz had snuck out in the middle of the night to meet her boyfriend. It was clear, Nikki was losing control. Nikki was getting fearful of the twins, knowing fully well they are working as a team. Things got heated, and the police were called several times, in which Nikki will accuse the twins of hitting her, but they will just accuse her back. Every time this happens, only Nikki suffers bruise and scratches, while the girls are unscathed, indicating Nikki was the victim. The girls were taken into custody, they were in and out of the courtroom, and the trio were undergoing counseling. It was a living hell for her because the kids did not want to be back with her. Family members knew the twins resented Nikki, but no one expects what happened next. On January 13th, 2010, late in the day, shortly after school, Taz and Jaz returned home to discover their mother lifeless in a bathtub soaked with blood. According to police, Nikki Whitehead sustained approximately 80 stab wounds with a kitchen knife, causing severe damage to her spinal cord. Nikki and her daughters had history of argument and troubles, yet the idea that these two little 16-year-olds were capable of murder seemed unimaginable. Following the shocking discovery, the twins were comforted by the police, who are earnestly seeking answers. The question emerged, who would want Nikki dead? It soon comes to light that the girls have a father, but he's got a strong alibi as he was living in Canada at the time of the murder. Then the girls themselves tell investigators that Nikki has 2 boyfriends. While the police are trying to gather information, detective noticed some strange things about the girls. On their way to the police station, one of the twin is observed biting her arm. When asked why doing so, she explained that she does that every time she's upset. Inside the question room, the girls can be seen comforting each other, hugging and kissing. But few things caught detective attention. The girls' complete lack of empathy for their dead mother. They were crying a lot, but it was tearless cry. When asked to describe their mother, They were very insulting of their mother. During the interview, detectives observed difference in the twins' account of events, so they decided to separate them. This separation made it clear to detectives that the girls aren't telling the truth. Investigators begin to realize it's no former boyfriend or husband who carried out this murder. The killers are right under their noses. More lies begin to unravel further when detectives retrace their movements on the day of the murder. The girls told detective they arrived school late as they missed the school bus and walked to school, but surveillance video from a nearby gas station shows the twins didn't walk to school that day. They actually hitched a ride from a stranger, contrary to what they told investigators. The school surveillance video also shows the twins in the hallway hours after they told police they arrived at school. Then they began to be very angry, argumentative, and very uncooperative. Unfortunately, with only circumstantial evidence prior to testing what's found in the home, cops can't hold the girls who are released to their great-grandmother. For the next 4 months, Taz and Jaz lives a normal life, going to school, hanging out with friends, even attending prom. Meanwhile, police are watching, waiting, and testing the evidence, quietly building their case. Back at the crime scene, investigators are uncovering physical evidence. Evidence yielding valuable clues. They found the zinc completely clean and white. And in Taz's bedroom, what could be the most macabre piece of the murder puzzle? Investigator found a clump of hair that had been pulled out of someone's head, wrapped in a napkin, and hidden in the toe of the girl's shoe. Detectives found items in their closet that had blood on them, and so when they were trying to distinguish whose blood it was, they cannot determine between twins because they have the same DNA profile. To Nikki's credit, she did not go down without a fight. She leaves an evidence on one of her girls as a marker. Recall when cops saw Taz biting her arm, explaining it away as a nervous habit. Detectives discovered she was trying to cover up Nikki's bite mark on her arm. A dental examination of Nikki's teeth matched the bite on the twin. Also, autopsy results found human hair between Nikki's teeth. DNA test confirms the hair belongs to one of the girls. It was obvious Nikki was fighting for her life and bit Taz's arm. And that's how the hair became embedded in her teeth. Cops are quickly zeroing in on what appears to be 2 pretty little murders. On May 20th, 2010, the last day of school before summer break, with enough probable cause, detectives arrest Taz and Jaz. The now evil twins are seen here, looking sassy and arrogant in their mugshots, are charged with felony murder and aggravated assault in their mother's death. With no murder weapons discovered, the twin pleaded not guilty to the charges brought against them. Identical twin sisters known as Taz and Jaz are caught in a web of lies and incriminating evidence, arrested for the brutal slaying of their mother, Nikki Whitehead. In 2014, nearly 4 years awaiting trial, as part of a plea deal with the state to avoid trial, the twin pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter and both sentenced to 30 years behind bars. Then, the shocking revelation of how they murdered their own mother. By their account of events, they stayed up late till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So when they were awakened to go to school by their mother, they declined. That sparked argument that led to the attack. The confrontation led to killing their mother, and then they spent a couple of hours fabricating parts of the crime scene and cleaning it up, and then they went to school so they would have an alibi. Detectives said they found a journal in the home that revealed a premeditated plan to murder their mother for some time. They would write back and forth to each other how much they disliked their mother, and even to the point that they said that if they didn't get rid of her soon, they weren't going to be able to. This was an act of rage. Cops believe Nikki never stood a chance in the savage attack. The bloody path even extends to outside the home, suggesting Nikki managed to get away, but the girls dragged her back to the house to finish her off. Back in the house, the heinous assault continued. The girls smashed their mother over the head with a pot, stabbing her with a kitchen knife, choking her with the ribbon of a medal, then dragging her body into the tub where they left her to die. Many believe the confession by the twin was to earn them a plea deal to avoid them getting life imprisonment if they had gone through trial, and does not tell true event. When they finish serving their sentence, they'll be in their mid-40s. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you do, Kindly give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.